bunch of nonfiction books for people who hate nonfiction, because you don't really hate nonfiction. You're just not reading the right books. Also, if you have any nonfiction book recs, definitely let me know because I'm always looking for more. I feel like usually when you say nonfiction, people think of like self-help or business books, and none of these are that. These are all highly entertaining and they read like fiction. So I'm gonna start with history first. First we have Philip Madzak, I think is how you say his name. He has this like 24 Hours in series. So there's 24 hours in ancient Athens, 24 hours in ancient Rome, and 24 hours in ancient Egypt. Obviously, as the title suggests, he kind of just explains what it would be like to spend a full day in any of these places if you like time traveled and lived there. Speaking of time traveling, we have Ian Mortimer's The Time Traveler's Guide series. So I have The Time Traveler's Guide to Medieval England and The Time Traveler's Guide to Elizabethan England. Kind of the same concept, just like super accessible and really interesting history books about what it would be like if you went back and lived in either of these time periods and places. Then for my Greek mythology girls, I have Divine Might by Natalie Haynes. This is just all about the goddesses and the Greek myths. Super short, really interesting read. Then I have In Shakespeare's Shadow by Michael Blanding. If you guys didn't know, there's actually a lot of controversy about whether Shakespeare actually was the author of his works. So this book kind of goes into all the different theories about who else could have written them. Some say it was a group of authors, some say it was just a different playwright, and some actually say that it was a woman who wasn't allowed to put her own name on them. And this is just a super fascinating read. Then we have The Witches by Stacy Schiff. This is obviously about the Salem witch trials, touches a little bit on the witch trials that happen in Europe, and that is definitely one of my areas of special interest, so I was really fascinated by this book. Okay, moving on to memoirs, I have two really good recommendations. So first we have Smoke Is in Your Eyes by Caitlin Dowdy. She is a mortician. It's a memoir of her experiences doing that and also about her studies of the different practices surrounding death in various cultures. Just really, really interesting. Then I have Know My Name by Chanel Miller. Chanel Miller is an SA survivor, and this is like one of the most poignant, beautiful, and moving books that I have ever read. Although, of course, please check your content warnings before going into this one because it definitely is extremely heavy. Okay, I actually lied because I have another memoir. This is Once Upon a Tome by Oliver Darkshire. This is written by this guy who is a rare bookseller, and I started this one recently. Just super interesting for anyone, but especially if you're a person who's like interested in book selling or publishing. Then kind of moving into like culture, I guess, I have Cultish by Amanda Montell. This is all about how cults use language to ensnare people. Fun fact about me, cults and linguistics are two of my like kind of areas of special interest, so this book was basically written for me, and it is incredibly entertaining. And then moving into like kind of science and philosophy, I guess. First we have Mindhunter. Obviously there is a very popular Netflix show based on this story. I'm not going to say what this is about on TikTok, but I think most people know. Obviously this is very heavy subject matter, but it is really interesting. Then I have When God Was a Woman by Merlin Stone. This book is basically exactly what it sounds like. It is kind of delving into all of the past cultures who worshipped primarily female goddesses. Then we have It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wolin. This is about inherited family memories, and this was absolutely crazy. Like, I could not believe some of the stuff that I was reading in this book. Just super interesting. I know I keep saying that about all of these, but that's kind of the point, is they're all interesting. Then I have The Hidden Life of Trees by Peter Wohlleben. This is another one that I was absolutely blown away by. It's about how trees are like kind of semi-sentient and communicate with each other. Absolutely crazy. And then lastly, I have Written in Bone by Sue Black. This is about how scientists can learn a lot about a person's personal history and how they live their life just from their skeleton. If you like shows like CSI, you'd probably love this book. So yeah, those are all of my nonfiction recommendations for now. Like I said, definitely let me know what your favorite nonfiction books are, and we will talk soon.